All right, welcome back, System Wars, to another edition of Pedal to the Metal. We've been on a little bit of a hiatus. Life comes up and things happen. So we're back tonight. We want to talk video games with you guys today. It's a very, very special podcast because of the guests we have on today. But before I get to them, I'd like to introduce to you to the man to my left, the hashtag legendary, Heil68. What's going on, Heil?
Not much. Enjoying life, enjoying video games, enjoying the favorite time of year for video games, and the worst time because they cram so many good games in just a short month span between October and December. Well, January,
plus you're a Sony fan, and Drive Club just came out, so I can understand why it's not a great
hey,
time.
I'm still getting that whenever it comes out, so I don't care. Scores, which we're going to talk about, review scores or reviewers specifically, they don't bother me. If I have a mindset in the game, it might make me possibly wait to buy something day one. That's only happened a couple times. But I'm still gonna play it. So especially when they give you an option to play the free stripped down version.
Do they?
So.
Do they though? It's not really up yet.
Yeah, it's not really up yet. It's not.
We'll see. But we're also here today with our other host to Pedal to the Metal, Mr. Animal Mother. What's going on, Animal?
Race car bet aficionado.
Yeah.
That's my new name. And you slept in it over the weekend.
That's really disturbing. I did. I do have to admit, I did sleep in Animal Mother's basement last weekend, and I wish I was kidding about that, but it's a true story.
That's cute.
Yeah,
it's so
went
true.
We went to Comic-Con in New York. Pedal to the Metal is going to have our yearly Comic-Con video cast.
Our second annual Comic-Con.
We can
next year.
We can officially call it yearly, and Heil's going to come next year. Heil's on the every other year plan. So we asked Champ lives like 15 minutes, I think, from Comic-Con, and we ask him to go every year, but he never shows up. So
we asked him to come, but he babied out. He's like, no, I can't do it. I'm too much of a baby. But yeah, you fell asleep in my armchair while I was playing Alien Isolation.
I thought he was finishing that.
Jesus. This is getting weird. It's all, we're like 2 minutes and 24 seconds in before the weird.
I thought you was going to say he fell asleep in your arms.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nothing like that.
It's a scary game.
Right in my book. So, Heil, why don't you start by introducing some of the guys from
we're going to start off with guesting. I'm going to let Tim introduce some of his cohorts. I'm going to introduce JG4X Champ. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's up, Kyle? How's it going?
Hey, good. So, obviously, if listeners listen to our cast, we've had you on a few times. You told us about your awesome website that you are part of and run, and have your own podcast. Why don't you introduce that a little bit, and tell some of the people you brought along that are a part of that as well, that have been nice enough to join us tonight.
Sure. Recently we did a Destiny podcast inviting you guys, and we felt like we should naturally return the favor and do a big show with Pedal to the Metal for you guys. And I'll bring my crew, especially considering two of these cats. First, I want to start off with Sonic MJ1, who I know as Ben Minkoff.
Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
Welcome.
Yeah,
it's been a long time, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice treat for System Wars, because Sonic's from the, I want to say pre-Casey being a mod era of System Wars, even, right?
Yeah, I was there pre-E3 2006. What? Yeah. I remember Krabs.
Yeah, so he's from the PS2 era of System Wars humor. Then we also have my favorite Canadian, Skinny Man 69, published author, by the way, of Eternal Dreams, which you can check out at Amazon.com.
Really?
Compton.
Congratulations.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, awesome.
Also joining us is my lead editor, William Berger.
Yo.
Dark Link.
Yeah, the one, the only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Legendary hater who might possibly hate as much as Champ. No.
It depends on what it is.
Technically, Willie has been helping you guys, but recently, Willie's been doing some fantastic work writing up some comics for my website. So you also have Willie 1105. I never actually. What's the System Wars numbers?
105.
105.
I'm sorry. Give a shout out to Willie and his artistic ability is just cracks me up when you got. I still laugh. I still search for it. That little movie you made about getting banned and coming back and saying like one word and getting banned again. That was that still makes me laugh to this day. And your I don't know what, I guess art skills are very, very good. So,
but yeah,
because I took that off YouTube.
Oh,
But for pedal to the metal listeners who are wondering this other podcast you could have been on, you can check it out at endlessbacklog.com. We're subscribed to it on iTunes or Stitcher.
Nice.
So,
I'm
yeah.
using like the most ridiculous grin right now as saying it, right? Like, you ever see that grin? No.
It's creepy.
It's pretty creepy.
Is it like
It
the
sounds
Shaq
creepy.
grin?
What's up?
Is it like the Shaq grin that he does his $1 million smile?
Yeah, it's literally one of those.
Like Shaq.
Yeah. Or one of those things like NASCAR drivers do, you know, like when they're about to drink their thing. It's like, I just like to thank this company and this company for helping us have a car. And then they take a swig of whatever their brand name soda is or whatever.
They telegraph every bit of it.
And
Yeah.
thank you, Mountain Dew, for this glorious drink.
Yeah. So, guys, we're going to jump right into some topics today, and since we're having you guys on as our guests tonight on our show, we actually wanted to start by hearing what you guys are playing right now. So maybe take a minute or two if you need to kind of tell us what you guys are up to right now in your video game lives. And I know you guys have the Endless Backlog, like all of us gamers do. But let's start with Chris. Chris, what are you playing right now?
I'm almost done Shadow of Mordor, which everyone's probably playing or has played already. Love that game. Shadow of Mordor is so much fun. It really reminded you what a good game was after the disappointment of Destiny. It's like such a good cleanser.
It's a good palate cleanser. It's the best
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed game I've ever played.
Isn't it, though? Like, for sure. I think back on Assassin's Creed, the climbing, and now it just feels so slow and annoying. Like, maybe it's not realistic in Shadow of Mordor, but I much prefer just flying up the side of a building in 2 seconds.
Right.
Because it's a game. You're supposed to suspend disbelief.
Right, and I just want to have fun, and it seems like Shadow of Mordor, at every opportunity, is like, you want to have fun? Sure, you can teleport through your arrow. Like, who cares?
Right.
That's awesome.
So what about, I mean, the things that I always hear that are always touted about Shadow of Mordor are things like the gameplay, the Batman-style combat, the Assassin's Creed, esque parkouring, and things like that. Like, what about the story? And is it even worth paying attention to, or is it throwaway?
Nah. Because I constantly get lost in the Nemesis system, so
Right.
I'll be spending like hours just hunting down orcs that have killed me in the past, or like starting riots and stuff like that, and I'll be like, oh right, there was a story to this game, and I'll go do a story mission, totally kind of have forgotten what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Story's okay, like it screws with the mythology a lot, which
Yeah.
might piss off some people, but I don't really care. Gollum's there, and that was cool enough for me.
Now, are you a Lord of the Rings guy?
Actually, but I just really don't care that it just seems like, and some people have even hinted at this wasn't a Lord of the Rings game originally,
Right.
and they just kind of like shoehorned the mythos into that world because I guess it worked, or they just wanted to use the brand name.
Yeah.
Because it's not super flashy with the fact that it's Lord of the Rings, other than like a random character like Gollum show up to remind you, yes, this is Lord of the Rings. But you could totally take the orcs out and put them in with something else, and it would be basically the same. It's just cool that it is Lord of the Rings to me.
Yep. Nice.
How much of your like disinterest in the story is due to like maybe a disconnect between the Nemesis, like all the stuff you're doing in the Nemesis system, to like, oh right, I guess there are story missions I could be doing, and how much of it is just maybe the story isn't particularly all that good?
To me, this is what almost always happens in open world games, is I just get too distracted to care.
Mm-hmm.
When given
Doesn't
the freedom to do everything, you do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't care how tight the narrative is, especially with the Nemesis system that is wildly more interesting than the story. You've lost me. Like, I'm like a kid with a million different things going on. I'm not going to focus on the one thing that you want me to. So it's not a big deal to me. It's not like the story is insulting. I haven't finished the game, and apparently the ending's not so great. But right now it's just competent. It's fine.
So just
It's
out
the
of
best case scenario for an open world game.
yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
So just out of sheer curiosity, and I don't know what your feelings were, Chris, on Assassin's Creed 4, but since it's the most recent installment, when I look at Assassin's Creed 4, I think, the same thing. I played if I played that game for 45 hours, 20 of them were spent fucking off on a boat, just blowing ships up and getting away from the story. Which game draws you in for better or worse, more? Mordor or AC4?
It's just the nemesis system I find so enthralling, like constantly. Like the AC4 has like upgrading your ship and stuff, but I find just the fact that I can like a captain can kill me, and then I can say I can go back and kill him, or I can brand him, get him to go up to be a war chief, like infiltrate the ranks, and then kill him just out of spite is so funny to me. Like those little stories that you create for yourself are better than the narrative of the game.
What's your
sort of
favorite
like
Nemesis system story so far?
My nemesis system, that I actually have like a list, a Word document of every single captain I've killed or branded, and some of the names are absolutely fucking hilarious. Like Kaka the Merciless.
It's Kaka.
It's
You gotta
Kaka.
say it classy.
It's actually
Excuse
KK.
me. It's actually Kaka the Merciless, which is hilarious. Blorg Metalbeard, and he actually had like his helmet was like metal around where his chin would be. I thought that was really cool. Like, it's so cool. You'll throw them through fire or something and put an arrow in their eye, and the next time you see them, there's like a metal plate where the wound would be.
Oh,
and
that's
he'll
cool.
be like, you took my eye, now I'm gonna take your head. And it's just little shit like that is so fun.
That is cool. So so then moving along then, Ben, what are you playing right now?
I haven't gone up to the next generation in a while, so I recently wound up getting myself a Wii U in preparation for Bayonetta 2.
Nice.
Which I'm super excited for. So to prepare for that, I got the wonderful 101, and I played through that recently.
And
finished it up over the weekend.
And your opinion on it?
I really liked that game. It took me a while to get. It takes a while to get used to, and like for the first few chapters, I was kind of like confused, and I wasn't getting good ratings and stuff.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure what I could do. There's a lot of systems in that game, and very few of them are explained. So it's tough going at first, but once I got the hang of switching between the weapons when I needed to, and evading the enemies and reading them from the perspective, and figuring out like how the game hid secrets. Like, there's a lot of stuff hidden in the environments, and some of that just comes from knowing when you can like draw circles around things to make a secret pop out, or what walls you can climb, or things like that. But once I started to understand the sort of vocabulary of the game, it got more and more fun. And also just the progression of it, the way things escalate as you get towards the end, is really exciting.
Yeah.
The finale is excellent. So I liked it.
101 is a game, like, for me, like, I haven't played it yet, and it looks completely and totally unique. So, like, what is it? And I'm going to admit, I did not look deeply into Wonderful 101 other than, like, some screenshots and some gameplay. What exactly is the id in that game? Like, what are you actually trying to do?
I mean, it's, like, you don't usually expect it because of the way the camera is, but it's really, like, an action game. It's there's a lot of parallels between it and Platinum's games like Bayonetta or Metal Gear Rising, things like that. You wind up going through these missions where you're placed in combat, or a lot of missions where you're placed in combat arenas, and there are some enemies, and you got to beat them up. And you're rated based on time, combo, and damage, just like the Bayonetta rating system.
Right.
And that's all totaled up at the end, and you get a trophy, and it's platinum or gold or silver. So that's like the main part of it, and what makes it unique as an action game is how all the weapons you use are basically made. You're going around this big group, the wonderful 100, as it were, the 100, and
wonderful 100,
the wonderful 100, and all your weapons are made because everyone in the group combines together to make them.
Okay. Got it.
And as you recruit different main characters, they each correspond to a different weapon that you can either draw with the gamepad or draw with the right stick. And I pretty much stuck to the right stick because drawing on the gamepad means taking my hand off the controller, which is too much trouble.
Yeah.
So depending on how big you draw your weapon, it's more powerful.
Oh, okay.
But doesn't last quite as long. And some of that comes from recruiting more people, and then you can even make other people use weapons without you using it, so you can have two weapons going at once, kind of.
Right.
To make your combos. And enemies, a lot of them have very specific weaknesses.
Yeah.
And so there's learning how to manage the battlefield, read enemy tells from that angle, and making sure you always have the right tool for the job ready. That's where a lot of the challenge comes from. And it was really exciting as I got better at the game because a lot of encounters sort of come back around, sometimes in unique ways. And coming back to enemies, or even there's like one boss that's kind of similar to another encounter you had before. But the first time I did it, I was totally disoriented and I couldn't manage it, and I kept taking lots of damage and I wasn't able to do what I was supposed to do. And then when I came back to it later, I was just I could see how far I'd progressed as with how much I'd learned in the game.
Right.
I was able to quickly move between the different wonderful ones and get the unite morphs I wanted, and I was able to exploit the boss's openings much more effectively. And my rankings improved, and I started enjoying it more and more. And
Cool.
that's really what that game is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it sounds like a platinum game. So, Willie, do you have anything to add? I know you played through Wonderful 101.
It's really tough game for me, but I really like it.
Yep. So what have you been playing, Willie?
What have I been playing?
Yeah.
He went silent.
It's a good game.
Nothing.
It's a great game.
While he's thinking.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
Okay.
I've been playing Smash Brothers and Star Wars: The Force Unleashed
Really? On Xbox, PlayStation?
on the computer.
On the PC. Okay.
PC.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That game had a
DLC.
really good story. I actually really enjoyed the story.
It has a great story.
Yeah.
But the game itself is completely broken.
Yeah.
You can tell that it needed at least a few more years for it to be finished.
Yeah.
Just a few years.
I liked it.
Yeah.
How's
All right.
Smash Brothers going though?
Yeah. Now, are you? Now, I was reading the other day about Smash Brothers that Little Mac is like the popular choice amongst online. Is he overpowered?
I have not tried Little Mac yet. I made
Okay.
my own custom Mii fighter, which
Ah.
is just my name, and I made him a puncher, so he's always punching. So I haven't tried Little Mac yet.
Nice.
So are you mostly sticking to single player?
For now, yes, I'm just trying to finish classic mode.
Ah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. All right, Will, what are you playing?
Been playing a lot of Alien Isolation.
Ooh.
How do you
really
like that game?
I'm fucking over the moon for it.
Eureka and I played it, and Eureka fell asleep in my arms while we were playing it.
Aww,
That's not
that's
yeah.
cute.
It's getting worse.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, yeah.
No. What it really happened is when I arrived in New York last weekend, Animal said, "I'm not going to get Alien Isolation. I'm not going to get it." And I said, "You will own it within the next 48 hours." Before I left, he had already bought Alien Isolation and was like 3/4 of the way through the game.
Jesus.
No.
No, he was a good couple hours into the game. But like, Will, I guess what I'm going to ask you is like when I watched Animal play the game, the only thing I kept thinking to myself was, when is something going to happen? Like, it seemed like a lot of...
It has a slow burn
It's
intro.
really slow burn where, like,
Yeah.
nothing is happening. So, like, you know, you obviously are enjoying the game, so what is it that you're enjoying?
I think, well, the slow burn is actually a large part of it. I think it's actually a really smart decision, which was funny because I watched Alien before I picked the game up, like the day before,
Mhm.
and you don't really see like the full monster in Alien, like aside from like the whole chestburster scene, like the full-grown alien monster until about an hour and 10 minutes into the film. Just figure it's a 2-hour movie. That's a long-ass time to build up to the reveal, right?
Right.
Isolation does a similar thing where it basically says like, hey, we're going to drop you into this area. You're kind of going to get used to the way the art works, the way the machines work, like the other enemies that you'll encounter, like how you sneak, like all the tools at your disposal, because you have a lot of different things that you can use.
Yeah.
And then just as you're getting comfortable, it throws the alien at you. And the first time the alien is actually in play, like, it's shit your pants frightening because you have no idea what to do.
See, that's what I don't get. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you for a second. Like, Champ and I were kind of talking about this. Like, I find the game tense and it very nerve-wracking. Like, and not nerve-wracking in a way where it's like, oh my god, this is a piece of shit. Like, I can't deal with this. But, like, in a way that it's like, it keeps you on edge. But, like, I don't find the game, like, scary or terrifying or, like, because Alien's been around for 35 years, and just like you, like I love the franchise. Like I love Alien, I love Aliens, and Alien 3 is okay.
Why does everyone always love the second movie more? The first one's the best.
No,
Always.
All right. Let's
But
not
that's
get
not
into
the
that
that's not the
debate.
point.
That's
That's
gonna
not the
take like
point.
3 hours.
That's not the point. But like, I don't find the game like I don't find the xenomorph scary. I don't go like, oh my god, it's the xenomorph. Like I just go, oh shit, like it might be around the corner. Like I have to prepare or be ready for this situation because I'm so used to that mythos and H.R. Geiger's style of that universe. Like it's kind of like it doesn't terrify me. It just sets me on edge.
So one of the things
I have an
that
opinion on that.
I think that
I have a huge opinion on that.
I think, like, I agree with you more or less. Like I said, the first time it's in play, it's really like it scared me, the very first time. But after it had killed me a couple times, it was like okay, you begin to approach it a little bit differently, and I think it's very suspenseful. I wouldn't classify Alien itself as a horror film. I think it's a suspense thriller. Like, it's not like
It's a
scary.
horror film.
I don't think it's a horror film. I think it's a suspense movie. But, and so does Ridley Scott. Fun fact. But
Oh, get wrecked, Goggin. Get wrecked.
Ridley Scott would be wrong. He's also the guy that made Prometheus. Get fucked.
Ridley Scott. Fun fact: Ridley Scott thinks the same thing.
Yeah, like
So all right, Champ. What is your okay?
my opinion on it is twofold. One, I think judging horror games on does this scare me outright is a lazy way of looking at things now, because I feel like being scared of something after a while gets so anecdotal. Like, I understand that everyone looks at that like, no, it's like a comedy movie. If it doesn't make me laugh, it's not funny. It's like, I don't think it's the same way, especially in a game, because I think a lot of games, if you can kill it, how is it scary? Like, that's always been my mentality to that. Like, if I can kill it, it's not scary anymore.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And in the same context, I think the other issue that Animal's dealing with is the thing, I actually talked this out with Sean, is that I think a lot of it has to do with just sheer ignorance of other horror games before. Like, the reason Animal's not impressed by it is, with no disrespect intended towards Alien Isolation, like, the AI for the Alien actually does seem like a step forward, but that type of game, what Alien Isolation is, has been on the PC for the last 5 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Frictional Games has been doing it with Penumbra. They were doing it with Amnesia. Outlast came out a few years ago. Again, I'm not saying Alien does anything. For all intents and purposes, it could be a better version of those games. But I'm saying is, like, some of the tricks it's using are shit Animal's already seen before.
Right.
And when you're desensitized for something, it stops being scary. Like, I'm not a person who goes to horror movies and gets frightened anymore. Like, when I was a kid, yeah, but, like, I feel like people who are, like, big horror nuts,
Yeah.
I question the fact that they even get scared anymore. Like, I don't see how you could. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. So then, Will, one of the things that I read in a few reviews that was maligned about the game was that the xenomorphs random popping out of the ceiling or jumping around the corner, like that, it's kind of a little bit, I don't want to say the word broken, but it's a little off. Are you finding that there are moments where, like, the game is bogged down because of the xenomorphs' actions in the game?
no. There's been a couple times where it's been in the room that I need to go in before I get there.
Okay.
But by and large, like, every now and then it does happen where it's trying to find you, but the AI is. I was talking about this with Phil. When you say Sean, are you talking about Sean McLaughlin?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, okay, just for my reference. But the AI for the Alien is probably the best single piece of AI I've ever seen in a video game, because it actually does look for you. Like, it's not following a pre-described route or anything.
Right.
Like, it's searching for signs of you or signs of movement or sound.
Mm.
And eventually, if it can't find you and it knows that you're in a room, it will eventually find you, because it's like, I didn't look in here. What's in here?
I see.
Like, I hid in a locker for like 20 minutes at one point because the alien was searching the room I was in. I couldn't leave. It eventually found me because it knew I was in the room and had seen me go in there.
See, that same instance I saw in one, I forget the review now I was watching, but that was something that someone complained about. Being in the locker, I'm stuck here for 20 minutes, I can't go out because it's right there, and then eventually it just finds me 20 minutes later. They were using that as a sign of a negative sign towards the gameplay of the game, but you're seeing it more as like something that actually makes the game cool.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate, like, I don't know, it's fun because like it's a continual game of cat and mouse, and
Sure.
you can't predict what it's gonna do. So that's like what the fun is for me. Like, I don't mind having to go back and like progressing for 20 minutes. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I think of it as oh, I learned something about the way I should approach
Right.
the alien or the way the alien works, and then the alien will learn from you too. So if you use a lot of the same tricks a bunch of times, it's gonna be like, that doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Like, if you keep throwing noisemakers, the first few times it'll be like, I'm gonna go see what that is, and then eventually it's gonna look at where the noisemaker came from, and it's gonna be like, oh, hello, and then it's gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
I think that game has some really cool options when you start. Like it offers you the camera, like if you have a camera connected or a mic, like if you're making too much noise, the alien will come out. I like that. I think that's a really cool feature. Like I think that's a cool step forward in like a, I don't know, a horror or a suspense game. But like I said, like I find the game good. It's like, you know, and Champ and I will probably have this conversation in the podcast. It has a very slow burn intro, like The Evil Within, which is fine. It builds good suspense. I mean, like other games have captivated me, but we'll get to that, Champ. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
I have my
yeah.
thoughts on that one.
Anyway, I don't know. I really think that like anybody who's like knocking the game for like making you work for your progress is approaching it the wrong way, because that's half the fun.
Right.
Like, there was like, if the alien is in the room that I'm in, like, how do I get it out? Like, can I throw a noisemaker somewhere? Will it go chase that? Like, oh god, I have to go into these vents. I know the alien is in the vents somewhere. Like, how can I con the alien into letting me into the vents? Or is that part of the vents even connected to the part that he's in? So like that, the intelligence of the AI and like the way the game is built from like an environment standpoint, because it's really well done and really captures like the art style, and
it's gorgeous. The game looks, that was what I was going to say off of Champ's point about how these games have been done before, where I can see where he's going with that. I think one of the strengths with the Alien game is the art style. It's the fact that you might be playing one of those games like Penumbra or Amnesia in an alien, authentic alien type world. So
yeah, I mean they really did justice to like the movies, the look
absolutely.
of the movies, like the feel of it. Like it feels like a labor of love in like the best possible
absolutely
sense.
The lighting is gorgeous, and I mean they really did a nice job with it.
PC developer.
And that leads us over to Champ. So Champ, what are you playing right now?
I recently started Fallout New Vegas and had to take a break from that to do Evil Within. So me and Will specifically might have a special podcast next week that we need to be ready for. So
yeah,
I'm trying to power through.
That.
Yeah, I need to power through Evil Within so I can get to Alien Isolation to have an opinion on it. But yeah, which one do you want to hear about first? I have some thoughts on both of them.
I want to hear about. Well, I want to hear about the Evil Within.
Okay, so Evil Within is the most recent game from Shinji Mikami. You know, Shinji sort of built a legacy as one of the greatest auteurs of gaming, I guess, if you will. He's the creator of Resident Evil. Way to cough, Chris. Jesus, hater.
Sorry.
Anyway.
Bad timing.
Anyway, but, like, from my standpoint, like, he's also the guy that made Dino Crisis, but the big game, specifically, that a lot of us can get behind is that Resident Evil 4 is one of the greatest games of all time, and he directed that game, and that game is so expertly crafted that he's never come close to backing it up again, because he's made games after it. God Hand's cool, Vanquish is cool, they're just not as good as Resident Evil 4. Back me up here, Ben.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's hard to come up against RE4. RE4 is so strong.
Yeah. And but this is the first time he's been back to a horror game. Right? Since Resident Evil 4. And you know, in between Resident Evil 4 and what he's doing now is like, let's think of like all the horror games that have come out since. Like, besides the fact that Resident Evil fell off a cliff and Silent Hill also fell off a cliff, like in between that,
let's be fair, Silent Hill fell off a cliff years ago.
Around the same time, though.
I mean, horror, kind of, but like at this point, like you're just like looking at the bloated, dead corpse with flies buzzing around it at the bottom of the cliff. Like the wound is not fresh.
Whatever. Well, whatever. The point is, but like in between like Dead Space was becoming a thing, and Dead Space promptly fell right the fuck off a cliff. And then, you know, as I've been saying, the PC shooters became a thing. Not the PC shooters, the PC horror scene, right? Because, like, AAA horror has stopped being a thing. Like, it's been dependent on indie games, specifically YouTube fodder style stuff. But, like, in between, you've gotten Frictional Games, who's made a great name for themselves. So, in that contrast, it's fun to see Shinji go back to a style of game that everyone thinks is maybe overdone or just, like, doesn't need to come back. But I think if one thing Evil Within has sort of solidified for me is that anyone that thinks Dead Space holds a fucking candle to what Shinji Mikami can do is out of their fucking mind. If you can sit through the repetitive, glowy yellow bullshit of Dead Space and tell me with a straight face they're competing with Shinji Mikami, and I'm not saying Evil Within doesn't have its faults, I'll get to that in a second, but he handles build-up in a way that I don't think a lot of horror developers do. Like, and unfortunately, he does take too many cues from Resident Evil 4, so this is a little unfair. But he does the cabin thing again from Resident Evil 4, which I've always said this was like, if the cabin sequence played out and they were just jumping through the windows right off the bat, it wouldn't be that special of a scenario because it would have just been boom, boom, you're right into the action. But do you remember that sequence in Resident Evil 4? You're putting the bookcases in front of the window, the music's building up. There's like a good 5 minutes of nothing happening.
There's just groans from everyone around the cabin.
Yeah,
you hear them
like he sets the tone first, and then you get into the fight, right? And that's a lot of what Evil Within is. Like, first he sets the tone, like, he's got Chainsaw Boy back right now. Like, he's grunting. He's in, like this barn chained up. And you're hearing him the whole time. You're not dealing with any enemies. You're just sort of, like, navigating the environment. You're like, oh, my fuck. Gotta deal with him soon. Right? And it's building up this sequence. And then when it finally happens, like, the action is legitimately exhilarating when it happens. It's like, it was built up properly. It was allowed to marinate. And when the game is being Resident Evil 4, I think it's a better game because
wow,
not better than Resident Evil 4. I'm just saying it's that's when the game's really clicking.
I see what you're saying.
Because when it's playing, when it's not pretending it's survival horrors can't have guns. When it's like saying no, fuck you, you're gonna shoot things.
Right.
Like, it's fine, it's great even because first of all the guns feel great. Mostly because like the headshots are fantastic. Like, they just burst. It's really loud when it happens.
Deeply satisfying headshot.
Yeah, it just gives you such, like, it always comes back to the thing I've always said about shooters. It's like, the thing about a game has to be is, like, when you kill the person, it's got to feel great. Like, it's got to be a bit of a turn-on when it happens. Like,
that's why I love Killing Floor, because every kill feels so good.
Yeah, exactly. Resident Evil 4 was the same way. Watching their heads burst in, like, melons was hilarious. But, like, that feels great. The guns are nice and loud. The enemies are quick to kill. Where the game really falters, though, is when Shinji Mikami's getting cute with his game. Like when he's maybe going up his own ass a little bit.
Okay.
And I'll start with the intro. I don't think the intro of Evil Within is... See, like, some critics are sort of bashing that the Evil Within does a poor job of teaching you. I want to say that you're fucking incompetent morons if you haven't figured out what the fuck a bottle does in these type of games. You pick it up, you throw it at the wall, the bad guy goes chase it. Like, who the fuck doesn't know that? Yeah, like, what? Like, come on. We played Last of Us last year. How did you forget that? Like, I'm not the only one that thinks that's stupid, right?
Are there people having a problem not understanding that you pick up the bottle and throw it?
I'm not going to name names, but there are prominent website writers and reviewers who literally said, man, I really didn't understand the intro. It does such a poor job teaching me. I didn't even know you had to throw bottles. And I was just like, I just sat there. And you play video games for a living.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's like their mind erases before the beginning of each game.
It's just, it infuriates me. It infuriates me how often a game publication can't fact check. But anyway.
All the fucking time, by the way.
Yes.
Like, did you know that the DualShock first came during the PS2 era? According to some websites? Like the PlayStation 1 never happened.
Yeah.
That clearly wasn't a thing. What are you talking
What's
about?
Ape Escape?
Yeah, like what's Ape Escape? Jesus. Oh my god. I think it was IGN that did that, by the way. So anyway, so not surprising to anyone. But
so then what?
So here's my issue. Here's my issue.
Yeah, I
want to
know your issues with it.
So they did that whole letterboxing thing with the black bars.
Yeah.
And there's a right way to do this and a correct way. And the order, for instance, which is getting a lot of backlash, but let's look at how it does letterboxing. And I'm taking this verbatim from Phil. It centers the camera around the character, and then that's how you play the game. Like, you play it like any other third-person shooter, but, like, the letterboxing forces the camera to be a certain way. In Evil Within, it's a little bit more free-flowing from a camera perspective, and a lot of shifting perspectives. Like, when you're aiming, it's not over the shoulder, it's over the hand, like, over the wrist.
Okay.
Like, you're not even seeing his body at that point.
I do not like that one bit.
It does not feel good at all. No.
Like, when it zooms in so far and you're just seeing the gun and you know his body is there, and, like, it plays some, like, I don't want to say it plays, like, tricks on you, but you have trouble when your real estate goes from that far out on the character to that close in on the character.
It's just janky. Whereas Resident Evil 4 is stop and pop gameplay is still, there's an adjustment period, I argue. It's like when you adjust to it, it doesn't feel like you're being asked to do anything that those mechanics aren't built for. Because think about it, like, when does that game ever make you do anything that you can't handle stop and pop, right?
It doesn't.
Like, Evil Within has enemies that react in a way in which you're playing like a game like Uncharted or Gears of War or Max Payne, and it's like, no, if you're not moving like that, then why is that enemy behaving in that way? Like, they jump at you, and it's like, I couldn't have responded to that. That's physically impossible with your mechanics. But no, this adds to it. The other issue is that the game has like a stealth thing going on. But it's stealth like the old days, where there's really no cover scheme of any kind, so you're sort of just crouching and bending the camera a bit. And I know some people think that's kind of cool, but the problem is, on top of having that added blind spot from not having the information you would get from a cover scheme, the letterboxing creates more blind spots.
Okay.
So it just makes it takes what is already a clunky, a more sluggish stealth mechanic and makes it even more clunky as a result. And when he's trying to play that up, and it's in the early part of the game, it's not very good. Like, that's just not the way you should start that game. It sets the tone for the rest of the game, I guess, because, like, it is a suspenseful, creepy game, and the atmosphere is on point, but that was just not a very good way to start the game. And it's like little things like this that I would argue is what added up to some people being frustrated with Evil Within.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they're pussies. Like,
so is any of you guys, anyone other than Champ, played it?
Me.
And what are you feeling, Animal?
I the game took a little bit to get its hooks in me because of those issues Champ described. We're talking about a man, Shinji Mikami, who created a game with a guy who had rocket boots, and you're flipping all over the place, and the angles really it works well, and the gunplay is fun, and it's really, really fast paced. And even like Champ said, they never, in Resident Evil 4, there was never a situation you couldn't handle because of the gameplay. Like, the Evil Within took me a little bit of time to warm up to. Because of the letterboxing and because of the really close zoom in on the character and some of the mechanics. But, I mean, otherwise, it's after Chapter 3, it started to grow on me, and last night it finally did. Mm-hmm. Aside from one complaint, I mean, Champ, did you get up to the Keeper on Chapter 7 or 8?
I stopped at 6 so far.
Ah, okay. There's going to be one annoying part there that really screamed, like, this is a little too Resident Evil 4 for me, like, where an enemy keeps popping up and you're under such pressure to get X thing done, and you have to get X thing done 3 times in order to escape or kill that enemy. It's kind
of
like,
I don't know if Resident Evil 4 ever had anything that lazy. I'm specifically talking about the part where do this thing 3 times. Like, that seems like a Bungie design move than anything.
I'm trying to think. it's like a lazier. Do you remember the left hand of Salazar in Resident Evil 4, where
Right
you
hand?
or the right hand?
Wait, hold on. Is that U3 or is it Vertigo? Vertigo is the guy that's in
When you're waiting for the elevator?
tunnel, and you gotta freeze him, and you gotta shoot him.
No, yeah, the guy you have to freeze, and then
Okay.
he's right before you fight the final form of Salazar while you're working your way up the tower.
Yeah.
It's like that, but lazier, and that screamed to me like, I understand it's horror, but like, or it's trying to create a tense situation, but it ended up creating an annoying situation.
I mean,
Tough line to draw.
I mean, it's bad enough he has to live up to Resident Evil 4, but what makes it worse is that when he's borrowing things from Resident Evil 4, then you're just bringing on the compare. Then you have to compare it at that point, right?
Yeah,
and it's like
it's
you try to be fair to the guy because it's like, okay, it's his best game. Like no one's gonna make their best game every time they come out.
Oh, of course not.
When your most recent game is clearly taking cues from that game, it's like, I don't think you remembered why this worked in the first place.
So is he doing it? Do you think that it's being presented as homage to his former games, or is it more of like lazy, ran out of ideas? Like,
I don't think lazy is the word I'd want to use, but
I think it's like almost like trying to relive, like give people a little bit of that past glory, like I made this.
So he's paying
game.
homage to something that he did previously.
It's weird to pay homage to something that's something you did.
Yeah, like only douchebag developers would do something like that.
But I mean, he does. The thing is, he does it so well. Like you can't sit there and say like he's a bad developer because it's a good. The Evil Within, once it gets its hooks into you, it is a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Like Champ and I were talking about the Agony crossbow and how good that weapon feels. And the upgrade system, it's right in line with Resident Evil 4's, which is nice. So it's, there's an easy transition of skills. But I mean, like, aside from some like, oh, I did this in Resident Evil 4, let me try to copy it but make it a little worse moments I've had, it's a really good game.
Yeah.
One
of the things I kind of want to ask about is like one of the things I really like about RE4, and I think what I guess makes it so hard to top when it comes to, like, using some more mechanics, that it's so thoroughly explored everything you could do with it through the enemy variety and through the all the level designs. You're constantly doing something new and original with what you have. I think he's a really good. That's one of the things that makes him a great director. That you can sort of see through a lot of his games. He's like always exploring the mechanics through these really unique encounters. And I was kind of wondering, how do you think are things being mixed up in a cool way as you go through Evil Within?
Oh yeah,
once it starts rolling.
No one, he's
like
still
the enemy variety and stuff.
If you're looking for a Mikami game for pacing and variety and shit, he hasn't lost that.
It's all there.
Yeah,
all right.
I mean, if the one thing you knock him is that, again, Resident Evil 4 felt fresh when it was doing a lot of these things, and when this does it, it's like, I know exactly which game you're taking this from because you made it.
He hits some of his beats from Resident Evil 4 that you go like, this was a part in Resident Evil 4. Like you hit those beats and you go, I get it. Like this is that, but in a different scenario. Like Champ said, there's the village. There's a part where you get the sniper rifle and you have to start dealing with a bunch of enemies on high and low ground. And then they bring out the chainsaw guy at the end once you solve the puzzle.
So there's variety, but he didn't stray too far away from what works for him.
So, yes and no, actually. So where he did stray was Resident Evil 4 sort of was the game everyone remembers as being maybe too action-heavy as far as horror games were. It's not so much this is action-heavy, but like Resident Evil 4 knew when to be cheesy. Like it was up front, it was going to have some one-liners and be stupid. But like Evil Within's a little bit more taking itself seriously. It's taking more cues from Silent Hill with its atmosphere. Like you have instances where like doors are closing and opening eerily in front. You ever see that moment in a horror movie where the guy is walking up to the door and then the door opens and it's that slow creaking sound with the that little breeze that comes right out of the house and you're just like, why the fuck would anyone go in there?
Right.
Why would anyone?
Because horror movie.
Champ. Once you get to chapter 9, though, he rips something. Like
Silent Hill?
No. I don't think this is much of a spoiler, to be honest, because it is his own game.
It is. No, screw that.
I won't tell you.
I want to see it for myself.
Once you get up to the moment, you'll be like, did he just take this? Did he just do this?
No, I can see it.
You're gonna be like, what is happening? One of the cool things the game does, though, that I really do like, is that the game drops you. I like that you don't know where the game is taking you. The game really surprises you with its environment. Like, it surprises you with how diverse it gets at times, where it's just like, hey, we're just going to drop you in the most random place, like from a village to like the insane asylum to wherever else. It all flows really nicely, which I like a lot.
Yeah. Nice. All right, well, let's keep moving because we want to get onto some other topics today. Hyle, what are you playing right now?
Still playing Diablo. About ready to
Loving
start
it.
my third character to level 70. So, that game is just, that has everything I love in a game. It's, as far as, how it's put together to, I guess it doesn't get repetitive to me, even though there's only 5, acts. There's just the different characters and the different since you can unlock the adventure mode or the hardcore mode or the rifts, they give you enough to do where it's always to me entertaining. So
Yeah.
I've been still playing that. I've actually been playing a little bit with I'll probably pronounce her name wrong or him wrong, but Abercrombie.
Abercrombie. That's
Abercrombie, the mod from the System
Yeah,
Wars. So we've been playing a little bit, so that's been pretty fun to play with. Is it a her or him or I don't know?
It's a her.
Been playing with her, so oh, that sounds bad, doesn't it?
Nice,
But,
Hyle.
sorry, Allie. So playing that, playing a little bit of Redux from on the Metro series. So I beat the first one on PC years ago, so I'm replaying that, and then looking forward to 2 weeks, man. My game I've been following for almost 2 years, Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, you were going to say Bayonetta 2. I thought you were going to have class.
Well, we'll talk about that here. That's in the next segment. But and then that same next week after that is the Master Chief Collection and Assassin's Creed. So
Yeah,
full
lots
lineup.
Lots of stuff coming up.
What about you, Eroica? What are you playing?
You know what? I'm not going to even waste everybody's time. I'm going to be quick about it. I just started playing Shadows of Mordor. I'm only about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of running around and having fun in that game. Not even 2 hours, maybe an hour to an hour and a half. That was Animal got it for me for my birthday.
You're welcome.
Yeah, dude, he got me a game for my birthday, so that was nice.
As he was
You're
holding
playing
him in his arms.
Wait, you're. I was gonna say you're playing something in spite of Lord of the Rings as well.
Well, yeah, you know what? I mean, Animal got it for me as a gift, and so I'm obviously.
We were talking about it, and it was your birthday, and you came to work at Comic-Con, and
Pillow talk.
You ate all the wings at my house, like.
Jesus Christ! But yeah, no, I'm.
It's cuddled.
Yeah, cuddled a little bit, and but no, I'm playing that. And I'm playing through the Metro Redux set, and then yesterday I just started. I don't know why I did this to myself, but I started playing Spelunky because it's free on PSN, and now I feel like I have like the second shot of Rogue Legacy being injected into my bloodstream. So I'm gonna try to peel myself away from Spelunky for a little while, but
yeah, you have to send somebody Metro Redux back.
I will. But no, that's
Send me shadows when you're done with it.
Yeah. So Animal, and you're doing Alien Isolation. Is there anything else you want to add to that, and Evil Within? Or
I'm doing Evil Within, Shadow of Mordor, Spelunky. I play Spelunky at night right before I go to bed.
Every game that comes out, Animal plays.
Yeah, I said I wouldn't buy Alien. Eureka called my bluff.
I called it. I said you buy every game.
I don't buy every. I'm not buying Master Chief Collection.
Did you buy? Wait, time out. Did you buy
Xbox One? Hey, Animal Mother's playing Master Chief Collection.
Wait. Time out. Did you buy Alien Colonial Marines?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No, I
was gonna say if you wasted money on that game and then were hesitant about the good Alien game, that's just dick.
Champ, if I spent $1.99 on Colonial Marines, am I at fault for a $2?
Yes.
I mean, did you buy it used? Because there are scumbags, vile, disgusting, filthy, bottom-feeding human beings who spent money on that game.
No, I bought it on a Steam I bought it on a Steam weekly sale. They had it for $1.99. I said, let me see what all the fuss is about.
That's about $3 too much.
I still haven't played it.
Oh.
So
It's definitely interesting for the $1.99 that you spent, because I bought it during the same thing and finished it.
yeah, I for $1.99 I said I gotta at least see what they did, to fuck it up so badly.
No, you didn't. You could have spent that $1 on like a McChicken.
Yeah, or like a medium coffee in the morning.
For those
or
that
like a
know,
Snickers bar.
I used to weigh 400.
Two of them even.
I used to weigh 400 pounds, so I tried.
Buy a bottle of water, Poland Spring, good natural.
Poland Springs, fucking $4. Like, well, not $4. It's like It's like $1.50 around here. You live in.
What kind of? I was about to say, what kind of psycho 7-Eleven are you going to?
Yo, I live. Well, I can't say I live in the richer county because you live in Suffolk. So.
All right,
Fuck
so
that.
moving along then.
So video games, those are a thing.
Video games. Let's talk about the Bayonetta 2 10 score.
That's what I want to get. That's what I want to get into next, and I want to start by giving Champ the floor because, as everybody knows on System Wars and anyone who knows Champ, that I believe he owns a Wii U simply because of this game. He's been talking about how
air purifier.
That he's been shining his white hot light of truth and justice on Bayonetta 2 since it was announced. Champ, it got a 10 on GameSpot. It got a 9.5 on IGN. It's being universally praised. Is this like for you bathing in correctness? Like, what do you think about the Bayonetta 2 experience?
No, because I'm at that point where I just don't give a fuck about other people's opinions. Like, even more so than ever, I guess. But if anything, there's a regret that I didn't take the bet at the beginning of the year that Bayonetta 2 was going to obliterate Destiny in terms of Metascore. And I kind of wanted to, but I was like, no way. They'll slut-shame Bayonetta, and Bungie will get Bungie redefined first-person shooters because I sucked their cock. Oh, it's so good. And, so there's that regret. But other than that, no. I mean, I kind of don't think... I think a lot of the positive reviews, like as good as they sound, some of them are just so fucking ridiculous. Like if you're a critic and you realistically wrote the following words under the bad as the realization that action games will never be better than this, I'm not saying that that's inherently a wrong thing to say in a review. I'm saying even if it's meant as a joke, the fact that you put it under the bad is kind of like shit. Like, come on, grow up. Act like a professional.
The fight music still exists, so that's the bad. That's what I gotta say.
So then
fight
here
music is amazing, but no,
it is not.
I mean, here's my question: is like, it doesn't sound like they reinvented the formula with Bayonetta 2 from the things I've been reading. It sounds like it's much the same. It's being praised much the same way that a game like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, like Super Mario Galaxy 2 was praised, where it took this amazing formula that was introduced in the first game and just amped it up to 11. When you play I mean, it's tough to say this for sure until you've actually played through the game more than the demo. But like, is this a game that you truly believe at the end is going to be in that rarefied air of a 10 out of 10 type of a game? Or do you think that, like, there's going to be things that stand out?
It depends on how you're using that scale. If you're using that scale...
Oh, come on, let's be real. Goggin was going to give this
Okay,
game
shut up. I'm going to testify. I wouldn't have given the first one a 10. I'm saying if you're using 10 out of 10 in that rarefied air of... It's the Ocarina of Time moment of the generation, right? And for the record, I'm not super high on that game. I'm just using that game as the golden example we can all relate to.
Sure.
Right? Like, it was allegedly this transcendent thing that took everything a step forward. I think if it's in that rare, I would definitely question if Bayonetta 2 is a 10. If we're using 10 as in it belongs in a discussion with the best of its genre, and it's the best game in its genre, then that's not even that. The first game was as good as anything, if not the best game in the genre. It is as good or better than any Devil May Cry game. The only thing the original Ninja Gaiden has over it is level design, and that's it. Like, that is the single thing it has over it. Ninja Gaiden 2 is unfinished, so it couldn't compete, and God of War sucks.
So, did you hear that, Isle?
No, like I'm not apologizing for saying that statement. And like, if come on, so
He's not wrong. He's
yeah,
not
no.
wrong.
So like, I'm not stunned that it got a 10 on pure quality because yeah, I could totally buy it.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how you're valuing that scale, which
I mean,
I
I
we'll
think
get into.
Bayonetta, I think Bayonetta 2 definitely stands up against GTA 4 and Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, like if
Or at
Smash
least
like
Bayonetta 1 would.
get a 10, let's be real. Words with Friends is a 10 out of 10.
Absolutely.
Peggle is a 10 out of 10 if GTA 4 can get a 10.
Right. I hate GTA 4, so you're
Like
not going to get
Animal
complaints from
Mother's
me.
Arms
It's not a good
probably gets
argument.
10 out of 10 as a pillow in comparison to GTA 4 as a game.
Okay.
Oh, you're
So-
wrong, but go ahead.
You think God of War is better than Bayonetta, Kyle?
No.
Thank you, Kyle.
Bayonetta 1's so good. It's easily the top of the I mean, for me, in my realm of what I've played, it is the top of the genre to me. Like how
Now for hack and
fluid-
slash, I'll say that it's not because there's the combat system, you can't even compare them. But for what I enjoy, the type of game I enjoy in the lore, I like God of War better because I like that lore. And I like Kratos. I don't care what you guys say.
That's
Doesn't
fine.
bother me.
So you'd rather hang out with Kratos?
I'd
than
rather hang out with Kratos
Bayonetta.
and listen to
You'd
him
rather-
talk
you-
about his.
You'd
his
rather
life
hang
and
out
crime.
with a white muscly dude than a naked chick.
He would kill you within 2 hours of the hangout, anyways.
Yeah, he probably would.
2
Yeah, I
hours.
could join him on his quest to
It
kill.
would be
things,
like
so.
10 minutes. You'd say something like, "Could you get like past the potato chips?" And he'd be like, "How
No one
fucking
tells
dare
me
you?
to pass chips.
I am a god!" And then you
What
die.
like seriously, what a shitty character. Like, come
No
on.
way.
He's been writing in the first game. He was like at least fine, but in the second and third game, it's like he gets punished for being a bitch.
You
to
don't like
Zeus.
Rico, so your
Gets
opinion
told-
doesn't count.
Rico is a terrible character.
No,
We're
he's
the
not.
same.
So is the worst character? He's not just a terrible character.
I want to talk to someone who's actually played. The thing that's different in this Bayo is they actually use the gamepad. So have you tried that, Willie?
Same.
No.
No.
No one
So
cares.
I tried the demo, and I'm gonna admit that I had it's really great, plays great, looks fluid, plays fluid. The moves are there, or orgasms are what they're called. Or sorry, not orgasm. What are they called there?
Wait a
Orgy.
slut screamer.
What the fuck are they called, champ?
The climaxes.
The climaxes is scary.
Same thing. Orgasm, climax.
Torture attacks?
So those are still there. Those are really cool. The punishments are still there, so that's cool. But as far as chaining the moves together, it's one of those games where if you're not good at that type of game, it's going to take you a while to learn those moves. So I died a couple times with in-boss, which you guys will probably laugh at. But I'll probably still get it later on, but not at $60. It's too much that I'm getting this fall to play. So
So Ben and Chris, have you guys played the demo for Bayonetta 2?
I
I
played
don't
demo
even
a few
have a
times.
Wii U.
Okay, I don't
What?
either. But
I played demo a few times.
so Ben, I heard you guys talking. I thought I heard you guys talking in the beginning when we were setting up about the touchscreen being utilized. What exactly is the touchscreen being used for in Bayonetta?
I mean, it seems to me like the touchscreen, and the reviews seem to back this up. Touchscreen is basically a lot like the easy automatic mode that was in Bayonetta 1, where if you're a person who's not good at action games, you can just tap the touchscreen and touch the enemies, and then Bayonetta will do combos for you.
oh
Okay.
sweet, I'm gonna try that tonight.
So it's so anyone can beat the game without feeling bad about dying a lot of times.
You hear that, Hyle?
Well, it's one of those games. It's like why there's different levels. You don't like playing Dark Soul games. You don't. Have you beat Demon Souls yet, Heroica?
No, you're too busy going down on Kratos. Go.
I got farther in Demon Souls than you, so shut it.
Damn.
I bet I got further than you and both.
Shut up, animal.
No, fuck you.
First of all, any difficulty conversation with Animal is like overruled on premise. Like Animal plays everything on psycho bullshit, not fun. The difficulty mode.
Hey, that's fun to me, asshole. So
Finished
fuck you.
it and then finishes it and gets the 1,000 out of 1,000 achievement points.
It's like the legendary in Halo 4 or Reach with those fucking white knights.
Oh my god, though. Yo, Halo Reach on Legendary alone took me
Flashbacks.
26 hours to complete. It was fucking insane. The hardest game to date I've probably ever played.
That's insane.
You did.
Anyway, I can't knock the game. I have a Wii U and it's a great game. I'm not gonna knock it. I love Platinum. It's just I'm not that great at those those type of harder difficulty games. I'll probably still get it though because it is a third party game on the system and
it's a 10, man. It's prime. It's
well,
prime.
Not to get condescending or anything like that. I'd rather let Ben do something like that.
You never do that.
Oh no, I never do condescending. I do just slut shaming. If anything, I do anything. I was gonna say, Kyle, why don't you try Hyrule Warriors?
Oh, Hyrule Warriors sucks dick.
I mean, you're not gonna get the complaint in any. You're never gonna get a Dynasty Warriors is a good game out of me because fuck those games. They're for scrubs. But Dynasty Warriors seems like it would be friendly, Kyle, and you could always try the demo.
You can play it with your kids.
The game I'm looking forward to on the system. I know it's off traffic, but I've been following the Xenoblade. The one Xenoblade X is coming out, so I will be getting that day one, 100%. So
yeah, I mean, and there's a Zelda game, there's a Metroid game coming out. I mean, there's reason to be excited about a $200 Wii U at this point.
Super Smash Brothers.
Hey,